Well, hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. This is episode 218, and I am still having headphone issues. Katie,
Really?
I just tried to fix it before the show, and it was perfect. And then our countdown came on, and it just I felt it shoot just to this earphone. So I think we'll be okay. Honestly, I'll try to fix it while you're talking throughout the
Okay.
show, but I think we'll be okay. I can hear you, so we're good.
Okay,
That's
good.
all that matters. So, but thank you guys for joining us for episode 218 of the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. We've got some good stuff for you tonight in the world of football and housewives as we inch closer to, we're technically in college football season. I'm a little
Also, final day of August here.
I know. We are
Oh
we
my
are in
God.
September. I thought to myself, do I start bringing out my fall decor tomorrow? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how I wake up.
September 1st.
If I wake up feeling like a pumpkin tomorrow morning, then we will be decorating the house tomorrow night. That might be the thing. But we
All
are
right.
inching so close to the NFL season. We are in college football season, but so many other teams kick off this weekend. If you could not understand, obviously, my attire tonight, I am ready for Alabama football this weekend. But we've got so much in the world of housewives, too, because we're getting trailers for new upcoming things. We're getting dirt on upcoming things as well, which we'll share with you tonight. But you know what? There's so much coming for us, and these weeks to come are going to be so excited. We are so excited to be here with all of you week after week talking about it all. So let's go ahead and get into our polls of the evening. As always, thank you guys for participating in our polls across our Instagram and our Twitter accounts. We are so excited to get into three of them, 2 football, 1 housewives. If you did not vote and you want to participate, obviously, if you're watching live right now, feel free to give us your thoughts. We're going to give you our thoughts as well. For the first one, we asked which team will make a bigger leap from last year, the Detroit Lions or the New York Jets? 68% of you went with the Detroit Lions. Katie, where do you fall on this one?
Two good candidates right here because I expect both of these teams to make a
Mhm.
decent sized leap from, this past season. But I think it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches the Real Football Fans of New Jersey. Caitlin and I have really been harping on the fact that we think we're going to see a very big leap from the Detroit Lions. Only 3 wins last year, which is obviously very, very low. Yet we remind you guys all the time that almost all their games were like 50-50 ball games.
Right.
They were in all of them. So, turn even half of those around and, we could see a 7-8 win, maybe more. You never know, team. And that's obviously a very big leap from 3 wins last year. So I went with the Lions.
I went with the Lions as well. And it's honestly pretty much everything you just outlined. I think we're definitely going to see a leap from the Jets. I just don't know how monumental it's going to be. We've already given you guys our predictions for the record for both of these teams. So you can go back on our social media accounts and check it out. But Katie and I both really, really had a big, staggering leap for the Detroit Lions. Again, you said 3 wins last year, but how many games were they in? They were in so many of them could have been wins for them. And we already mapped out this season, and there are so many potential W's on the board for them. The Jets, even though we looked at potential W's, sometimes it leaned actually more towards maybe the tie or the loss column. We don't know if they can actually extend that to a win. But 2 teams that we are looking forward to seeing kind of taking that next step this season.
Right. Yep.
All righty. The second one, will the Seahawks win 5+ games this season? 63% of you said no. So maybe, I don't even know. We are going to get into this actually later. So I want to say that Katie and I will not give you our answer to this one, but we did want to say that 63% of you guys did say no. 5+ is not on the board for the Seahawks this year. So we are going to dive into that. We are doing AFC, NFC West predictions later on in the show. So you will hear our answers. But yeah, if you are watching live right now and you agree, disagree, let us know. But yeah, that's we won't give you the first time. We won't provide our answer here. And then finally, in the world of housewives, would you want to see Denise Richards return to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? 67% of you said yes. Katie, what did you say on this one?
So I don't think I've ever done this, but I'm flip-flopping my answer from what I had voted.
Oh.
Originally, I had said yes. I am now going to switch it to no, because as I was thinking more and more about it, I feel as though when Denise was on, the issue with her and being a housewife is if you are going to sign up for it, if you are going to, sign your contract and everything like that, you really need to not dip your toe in the baby pool. You need to dive into the deep end. When I say that, I mean, like, you have to understand what it entails.
Right.
You are put, and this goes for like any reality television show, really. You're put on it to not hide your life, but to share your life. And I feel like Denise, her issue on the show was she kept a lot of things secret. She didn't want things to come to light. She didn't want things to come out to the surface. Mm-hmm. And that, I feel, has never made a good housewife. I'm sure we have examples of other housewives in the past that probably didn't last very long. And I feel like the people that are, I want to say Teresa Giudice is probably now the biggest housewife amongst all the franchises. And I feel like we have seen the good, the bad, and particularly the ugly parts of her life. And what people want to see is people being open and honest, even if it's embarrassing, it looks bad, it's, it's not pretty. That's what we expect of housewives. And I don't think Denise is ready to do that.
100% agree with you. I did not like her on Beverly Hills. It's funny. I think we were actually particularly excited to have her join because she was a familiar face, being, famous, being an actress.
Right.
But it wasn't too much of a famous face. We didn't really roll our eyes at it. We were like, actually, it kind of fits. She did not fit. So I'm really tired of these rumors of her coming back. I don't 100% agree with it. And I wouldn't want it. So,
yeah. All right.
Those were our polls. Yes. Thank you guys so much again for voting. Please continue to give you our commentary throughout the show. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and the Twitter. Obviously, if you are watching live, I actually looked over my phone. I see a ton of you guys watching so far. Go ahead and reply to us or head over to YouTube or Facebook and just reply in the comments, and we will definitely engage with you throughout the show. While we get into our next segment, Katie, I'm actually going to switch out my headphones. So I'm listening, but you keep going.
Sounds good. So, obviously, we've been telling you guys that the NFL Top 100 list, every week, and they've been coming out and announcing, the next number of players. And we wanted to give you the top 10 because the top 10 has officially been revealed this past week. And so we have numbers. We're going to go 10 to 1. And Kate, if you have any opinions or hot takes on this top 10, any thoughts, obviously chime in. But number 10, we have Kansas City tight end Travis Kelce. Number 9, we have a defensive player here. We've got Rams cornerback Jalen Ramsey. At number 8, we have Kansas City quarterback Patrick Mahomes. 7, we have now a Las Vegas wide receiver Devontae Adams. At number 6, another defensive player, we've got the Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker TJ Watt. 5, Indy's running back Jonathan Taylor, definitely a lot of fantasy teams' number 1 overall draft pick this year. Another high draft pick in fantasy, number 4, the Rams wide receiver Cooper Kupp. Number 3, we have Green Bay quarterback Aaron Rodgers. At 2, we have our highest defensive player rated. Of course, it's none other than Rams defensive tackle Aaron Donald. And last but not least, it is Mr. Old Faithful, Tampa Bay quarterback Tom Brady. Kate, what did you think of this top 10?
Listen, I think the list makes sense in so many ways. I actually think it is questionable in a couple of different ways as well. Katie, we love shining light on defensive players. We really do. And we want to see them in the spotlight a little bit more. I'm just not sure if I 100% agree with Jalen Ramsey being this high on the list, especially above Travis Kelce. That kind of, really I want to say rubbed me the wrong way.
Well, also, you know what? You know who missed this top 10, by the way?
Myles Garrett.
Well, no, not defensively. I was just thinking general, like Josh Allen. Like Josh Allen is not in this top 10. So I Jalen Ramsey was the name that stood out to me on this list. When I saw it, I was like, oh, he made the top 10. I don't know if I agree with that or not.
Yeah, I definitely did not agree with it. I think someone like I loved seeing Jonathan Taylor at the, so high up on the list. I think that was a little bit of a push, though. He could have been at easily in the 10 spot for me, and that would have been a great position for him. I loved what he did last season, but we still have to prove, though, if it was an anomaly or not. I think we're going to have great things out of him this season.
Oh, she froze. The first freeze of the night. Let's see if she comes back quickly. Yep. Well, what I was going to say is...
I'm back. But you can go ahead and give your thoughts.
Well, what I was going to say is that something that I did agree with was I thought it was good to see Cooper Kupp at the 4 spot. I thought that was really well-deserved because I think what he did last year is like the Triple Crown winner, like leader in touchdowns, leader in catches, leader in receiving yards. Like I genuinely don't know when we will see that again. I mean, you could make an argument, maybe we see it again this year. You never know. But to be able to do that is a very rare thing. And so I was happy to see him at 4. I'm very happy to see TJ Watt on this list.
Yes.
Obviously, Strahan's sack record has been a long-standing record. And very, very happy that TJ Watt did not break it, but he did tie it. And that's obviously a really big deal as well. Definitely deserves to be in this top 10. We got 3 Rams in the top 10.
Right.
And they're not just on the offensive side of the ball here. We've got their top-rated guy at the 2 spot, Aaron Donald, on the defensive side of the ball. I think, we're going to get into playoff predictions later in the show, but the Rams are going to, obviously, the reigning Super Bowl champions. It's not like a shocker here, but they're just really good on both sides.
Yeah.
And I'm interested to see where you have them falling later when we talk about the playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, so on Monday, we waited all off season to hear something come from this.
We've been waiting.
And honestly, Kate, this was my prediction from the beginning.
You did. You 100% called this. Yep.
On Monday, it was reported that San Fran and quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo were finalizing, and I think have finalized now, a new contract that makes him the highest paid backup quarterback. The new deal is worth $6.5 million, fully guaranteed, with incentives that can push it close to $16 million. The deal will lower Jimmy's 2022 salary cap number from almost $27 million to around $8.5 million. The contract includes a no trade clause and a no franchise tag clause. He will be a free agent after this season. Then I could see him, finding a new home unless something crazy happens where this dude, Trey Lance, that they're throwing all their marbles in on, somehow doesn't perform up to the standards. And then they're like, thank God we kept Jimmy. But I truly, this is a great situation for San Fran. And it actually, for me, leads into this next quick hot topic, because this is the team that I thought should have been not knocking, breaking down the door, making phone calls and going after this guy. I'm talking about the Seattle Seahawks, because on Saturday, head coach Pete Carroll named Geno Smith the starting quarterback for week 1, following the team's preseason loss to Dallas the night before, where quarterback Drew Lock threw 3 interceptions. Smith, who is 31 years old, it almost feels like he's older than that now. I feel like Geno's been forever. Geno, who is 31 years old, is entering his 4th season with Seattle, and he started 3 games last year for an injured Russell Wilson. Locke, who was traded to Seattle this offseason, was supposed to start the 2nd preseason game, but he tested positive for COVID-19, and Pete Carroll basically said Drew Lock kind of ran out of time to really make his bid for the starting quarterback job. Obviously, the 2nd preseason game was going to be their real good look at him, with him as a starter. And then in the third preseason game, when they wanted to give time to both quarterbacks, obviously Drew Lock had those 3 interceptions, and it didn't really help the cause there. I thought this offseason, even though I think the advantage with Gino is he's known this offense for the last 4 years, and
yeah,
had mentioned that as well. I still felt like this was going to be Drew Lock's job to win this offseason, because I feel like at this point, at 31 years old, we know who Geno Smith is. Whereas I feel Drew Lock has still not gotten his chance to fully start an NFL season. He's younger. I felt like his ceiling was higher.
yeah.
But Kate, you can agree with me or disagree with me. I think we're going to be seeing both of these quarterbacks this season. This is going to be a really struggle bus season for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, I think we're going to see both of them as well. I think what really bothered me with this selection the most was, Pete Carroll's obviously has made his decision as a head coach. I actually tuned into, the press conference where he was explaining his decision. What I really didn't like was, he says Geno Smith is the starter and he gives you every reason why. This is why we chose him, everything like that. He then goes into explain, kind of like, it's unfortunate that Drew Lock didn't hit X, Y, and Z expectation for us. If I was Geno Smith, like that would piss me off to no end. So essentially their mindset was where you were at, Katie, that it was Drew Lock's position to win and to take. Right. Obviously, Geno Smith's been around the block. He's not stupid. He understands kind of where teams are headed at. But if you, as a head coach, and a head coach in a very sticky situation going into the 2022 season, you are not the Seattle Seahawks that you were. It's not just with Russell Wilson. It's with many points on the field. You guys are not the same team. You announce your starting quarterback and you stick to it. That's it. You're done. You move on. Drew Lock did not win the spot. You got to listen to the press conference if you didn't. It's very questionable because not only does he go on about Geno Smith, he goes on about Drew Lock too. And that I think
it's because he knows he's going to be playing both quarterbacks.
You know what? You're not wrong there. You're not wrong there. So I did not like that. Like he didn't win. Geno Smith is your guy. Cool. Lock it in. We have a actual NFL game in about a week. So lock it in, lock it up, tell your players Geno's your starter, tell the world Geno is your starter. Here's why, and that's it. We close it up, we lock it up, we move on. Because this leaves that opening to what you were just saying, that we're going to see the both of them. Yeah. There's no other option. We are seeing the both of them. Yeah. And when we've seen teams flip-flop back and forth, it's a dumpster fire. And I look at teams like Pittsburgh, they might be flip-flopping between 3 people.
I would agree with you that 9 times out of 10, it's a dumpster fire. But at this point in time with the Seattle Seahawks, I think that they're going to be so bad.
Yeah.
I would almost just embrace the fact that, like, tell people we're going to be playing 2 quarterbacks this season. That way, and use that advantage where week after week, the teams that you are playing don't know, are we preparing for Drew Lock or are we preparing for Geno Smith? It's going to be bad. Neither one are going to get you however many wins this season. I would embrace it at this point and be like, they're both our quarterbacks. Yeah. Prepare for whichever one you think we're playing that week.
I would love the freaking transparency from an NFL team.
Right.
I would love it.
It won't happen, but hey, that's what I would do. Just like own it.
I would love
it. Own it and use it to your advantage.
I think that is an advantage. You're absolutely correct. I would love to see that. So who knows? We don't know, honestly.
I'll call Pete Carroll. I'll tell him, like, listen, this is how we got to roll. Let's do it this way.
Just the world. Stop beating around the bush. Seriously. All right. So those were our hot topics of the week for football. And now we are moving into our final team by team best worst case scenario records for the season. We've been giving you guys each division from the same location week after week. So we are on our final one which is undoubtedly the hardest selection here from both divisions. We have
I think the best. I think these are the top two divisions in the National Football League. So we saved the best for last.
We really did for you guys, totally on purpose. We have the AFC and the NFC West. I have been dreading this selection process since we've started a couple weeks back, but it's a good one. It's really, really interesting to look at. What is it? Oh my God. Schedules. That word was not coming out of my mouth. It's really hard to look at schedules coming up and everything like that. So we've got a doozy here for you guys. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with the AFC West. So this includes Denver, Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Raiders. So let's start with Denver, including a brand new quarterback in Russell Wilson. Katie, what is your best worst case scenario for the Denver Broncos this season?
Well, spoiler alert for my AFC West record predictions. Best case scenario, I don't have anything lower than 10-7 for these 4 teams. And that goes to show you that this is the number 1 division in football. There is no weak link in this division. They could send all 4 teams to the playoffs. So with that being said, best case scenario that I have for the Denver Broncos is 10-7. And worst case scenario, I have them at 8-9. I do want to note that, if you're going to have a difficult stretch of games, you'd rather get them over with in the beginning, in the middle. Definitely not the end here for the Denver Broncos. Their final 6 games are extremely tough. They will be facing Baltimore, Kansas City, Arizona, the Rams, Kansas City again, and ending with the Chargers. So that's pretty damn difficult. That's pretty much as difficult as it gets. But I will note that they do have some easy games on their schedule, including the Seattle Seahawks, Houston Texans, the Jets, and the Jaguars. So that will be helpful because obviously the division race is going to be tough, and they have some other tough opponents outside the division.
Absolutely. So oddly enough, and I think I've said this, a couple times on the show before. I just really, I got to see the Broncos in action this season. I like the names. I obviously like Russell Wilson going there. I just, new team, new offense. I've said it many a times. My best case scenario is actually your worst case scenario. So I'm giving them an 8-9 record, best case scenario. And I'm going to drop them to a 5-12 worst case scenario in case it is bad. It's not always glorified. Let's kind of strip the Band-Aid off and add some new people to our team. That's not always the glory for some people. So I just kind of think of that. They do have some returning good players, of course. Obviously we look at a guy like Jerry Jeudy that we're very high on. I totally get it. I think
they have a really good defense.
Right. I mean, you look at guys like Patrick Surtain as well. Like I think I'm very hesitant with them. And I think maybe I should be more hesitant with the New York Giants, to be honest, than I am with the Denver Broncos. But I just, I don't know. I think that I have a lot of hesitation going into the season to being high on them, giving them a lot of love, a lot of credit. Cause I would love to see it. But again, I do have to see it with my own eyes. So.
All right. Fair enough.
Moving to Kansas City, best worst case scenario for one of the better teams in the entire National Football League.
Right. I'm glad you said that because this best case scenario doesn't necessarily seem that high for Kansas City, at least in my opinion, but they have a very difficult schedule. So best case scenario for Kansas City, I'm going 11-6.
Okay.
Worst case scenario, I'm going 9-8. And like I was just kind of saying with Denver, I guess maybe if you had to choose, you'd rather start with your hard games.
Yeah.
The first 8 games for the Chiefs are difficult, not 6, 8.
Yeah.
So they're starting their season, Arizona, Chargers, Colts, Tampa Bay, Raiders, Buffalo, San Fran, and Tennessee. That is absurd. So what I noted out of those 8 games, I think if they could start with a 5-3 record after those eight games, I think that's a win right there.
That's really good. Yeah.
That's an insane stretch of games.
Well, we know Kansas City loses. I think that's important people to understand.
Yeah.
When they lose a game, the world isn't shocked anymore. So I think it's healthy.
I would say these 2 hardest games, you're playing Buffalo and Tampa Bay in this stretch. They can easily, you can make arguments for the 8 games that I just named of you could make arguments that they could lose any of those.
Right.
So 5-3 to start the season is going to be a huge win for Kansas City. And then I think they could, potentially cruise from there once they get over that first stretch. But it's going to be hard. And so, 11-6, like, you're like, really? That's it for the Chiefs?
Right.
But this is a hard schedule.
It is. So I'm going to give them the repeat from last season and a 12-5 record. I think that's pretty fair for them. That's best case scenario though, because we have discussed, a couple episodes in this year so far going into the 2022 season of the roster and kind of who is really wrapping around Patrick Mahomes? What does their defense look like and things like that? So I think best case scenario, that's pretty good. I really don't give much of a middle ground because worst case scenario, I went with your best case scenario at 11-6 because they're still going to win games, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course.
When I look at their schedule, I really look at lock games for them. And for me, like the no-brainer, like they're going to beat Jacksonville, the Titans, the Texans, the Seahawks. Like those are real locks for them, in my opinion. And then obviously I'm going to stick to my guns with Denver. They played Denver twice. And even if you want to, really maybe this division is competitive and maybe it really sparks into Denver this year. Even if that's one win for them, if one goes over to Kansas City, that's 5 like real true lock wins. And when I'm looking at a team, like if you can really lock down like 5, 6 like wins, you're doing a good thing because then everything else is up in the air. You're kind of competitive, but you're also the Kansas City Chiefs. So you're going to win games. So that's why I kind of gave them a little bit of an up there. So. All right. Moving to the Chargers, a team that Katie and I are very, very high on. So I would love to see what you gave them because I think it looks pretty high for me. So what did you do best, worst case scenario?
Yeah. Not only are we like just in general before really dissecting their schedule, we were already so high on them. And then I personally found that I thought they had the easiest schedule out of this division. I'm going with the best case scenario of 12-5. I'm going with a worst case scenario of 9-8. And I know I just gave 9-8 worst case scenario for both the Chiefs and the Chargers. It's hard for any of these 4 teams just in the fact that they all have to play each other. Right. So I don't really think either one of these teams is going to fall towards that 9-8. I am obviously leaning towards their best case scenario. But yeah, like the Chargers, they're playing Jacksonville and Houston and Cleveland when Deshaun Watson is not there and right. Seattle and Atlanta. And I would, like I said, classify this as the easiest schedule of the AFC West.
Yeah, well, listen, like you're not wrong because I pointed out they have a really tough first 2 games actually, and then they go on to Katie a 6-game stretch of easy games.
Yeah,
like that for them. Like I was just kind of like punching myself when I saw that. I was like, cool. Like must be nice. Like it's to jump from 2 and listen, coming out week 1, week 2. Like it's not only their opponents are tough, but like. That's tough for everyone in the league because you are coming out and proving yourself. Or like I think back to the Jaguars. What was it like 4 seasons ago? And they were supposed to be like the hottest team ever, and the Giants played them. And then like we were like played really well against them. We were like, oh wow, like this is cool. And then they ended up sucking royally. Like this is gonna happen to anyone. But those first 2 weeks are crucial. But then they've got to glide. Like they really are gliding. So best case scenario I'm giving for them is 13-4. Worst case scenario, I'm going to 11-6. I think this Chargers team is the real deal. Either way, they could win the division with that worst case scenario 100% and move on and be all the glory. So that's really good there. Moving to Las Vegas with the Raiders, a team that roster-wise, they look good, but will they be like the Dallas Cowboys where everything on paper looks good and maybe on the field it doesn't? I'm not sure. So what are you thinking best worst case scenario?
So I actually feel that Las Vegas, in my opinion, is very comparable to their division rival with the Denver Broncos. I look at these 2 teams. They've got playmakers on the roster on both sides of the ball. They're both capable of making the playoffs. Obviously, Las Vegas made the playoffs last year. Denver is going to get a boost with Russell Wilson. And so I have the same exact best case, worst case scenario for them that I do the Denver Broncos. Best case scenario, I have 10-7. Worst case scenario of 8 and 9. In a tight division race, it doesn't help, though, that their final 2 games of the season are against tough teams like San Fran and Kansas City. So, we are going to talk about the playoffs, and like I said, later on in the show. And I said, like, all four of these teams could potentially make the playoffs. But as far as a division race goes, like I said, with the Raiders, that ending there, you don't want to end on 2 games like that when I think you can make arguments for any of these teams winning the AFC West.
I agree. I mean, I won't. I'm not going to put Denver up there, to be honest. I'm not there yet. I just can't. But listen, well, with the Las Vegas, best case scenario 10-7, worst case scenario 8-9 for the Raiders. So
we're close,
very, very close. I thought we were really close on that one. Maybe, who knows? We have another division to go over, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like, I really looked at those games that you had near the end. It really can make or break a season for someone, and that could be the downfall into a maybe like. Not even like the beginning. I would say kind of like that middle tier is like questionable for them to where and there's games that they're winnable for them. But near that end, we are definitely seeing some tough games all around, even with, some of these teams having easier records looking at Kansas City, schedules. Looking at Kansas City, it's a tough go around for this division because the reality is that they all have to play each other twice. Right. And there, some we're seeing near the end, some we're kind of seeing like, oh, I get you in the middle, but then I get you at the end as well. Nothing looks good on these schedules for all 4 teams when they're playing each other. So it's going to be
why sometimes as good as these defenses are in this division, it's why sometimes people, when they're playing fantasy football, shy away from taking one of these teams as their defenses. Because they know they all got to play each other. They're going to have hard games just in their division alone.
One day they're playing.
I have the Chargers as one of my defenses, but you get what I'm saying.
You hope they come out on top, so he'll be good. All right, moving over to the NFC West, we have the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams, reigning Super Bowl champions, the Seattle Seahawks, and the 49ers. Let's start with the Arizona Cardinals, which for me is kind of a questionable team. I think we say that a lot on the show, questionable, question mark, things like that. They are definitely one of the ones I see. But what are you looking at best, worst case scenario for them?
So best case scenario for the Cardinals, I have 10-7, and worst case scenario, I have 7-10. I did note that they could potentially start the season 0-3. They've got a hard first 3 games. They're playing Kansas City, the Raiders, and the Rams. So we just talked about Kansas City and Vegas, and we know that these are going to be heavy hitters. And then your third game is against, I think the best team in your division, obviously the reigning Super Bowl champions, the Rams. Arizona's a good team, but could start 0-3 to the season there.
Yeah, I think they can as well. I do have them pretty low on my spectrum looking at that. And I think that could be for them, that's a momentum killer. We saw them on the decline on the second half of last season where they had a stretch of games and they really couldn't pull themselves.
They were a lock for the 1 seed. In the NFC, they were I think the last undefeated team in the league last year, and then it just went to complete another shit.
They couldn't pull themselves out of that hole. They really, really couldn't. So an 0-3 start, I think that's critical for the two of us to point out, because I have them best case scenario 9-8, worst case scenario 7-10. So we do agree on the set.
And won't have DeAndre Hopkins in the beginning of the season either. So that's gonna be tough.
Critical to look at that for sure. All right, let's go with our reigning Super Bowl champions, the Los Angeles Rams. Best, worst case scenario for them.
Didn't realize this until we're actually talking about this and reading our answers, but this seems kind of low as well. It actually matches exactly my prediction for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I have the Rams best case scenario at 11-6. Worst case scenario, have them at 9-8. And that is because I said, they have a very challenging schedule. And besides, just let alone their tough division opponents, Let's list these other teams they have to play, including the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Green Bay Packers. Here's the thing, everybody. When you finish first in your division, that means you are going to be playing other teams that finish first in their division. And that's why I wanted to point out with the AFC West, the Chargers are an amazing team, but they finished third in their division last year. So they're not, like when we said they have the easiest schedule in their division. Well, that's why. So, and we're talking about Kansas City, and we're talking about the Rams, and, you know, the top dogs, you're going to have to play top dogs from the other divisions. So yeah, I have them matching up exactly, the Rams and the Kansas City Chiefs there.
We finally agreed on best case scenario 11-6, worst 9-8. I'm giving them 9-8 at worst. Maybe that's their Super Bowl slump, and if that's a Super Bowl slump, I'll take the Super Bowl slump, to be honest. But as our best case scenario, but yeah, I mean, honestly, like everything you just mapped out is, you know, crystal clear, makes 100% sense. Like 11-6 is not bad for them or going into the season. I really don't think it is.
Obviously, 11-6 is enough for any team to make the playoffs, especially if there's 3 wild card spots.
Yeah, and we're going to get into, you know, more, you know, in depth of the playoffs in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, for me, that's a good best case scenario for them. But there's a lot of stuff, like you had said, they're playing some good freaking teams off of so we'll have to see about that for sure. All right, coming into you know, definitely a team that a lot of eyeballs are going to be on this season, but potentially not for the best. So we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks, and this will tie into what our poll question earlier about 5+ wins. So Seattle, Katie, best worst case scenario. And I guess our answer to the poll kind of lies maybe like in the median of what we did. Like, I don't know. So,
well, my answer to the poll question is no, they will not have more than 5 wins. I think this was probably 4 or 5 episodes ago now where I very much so was like, one of my bold predictions for this season is that Seattle's going to be a bottom 5 team this year. And it's going to be Pete Carroll's last year with them. He's going to bounce. And so I do have best case scenario as 7-10 for the Seahawks, and I could be wrong, but I believe this is maybe my lowest mark that I have for a team so far for worst case scenario. I have them at 3-14. And realistically, as far as the poll question goes, yeah, I said 7-10 best case. I am believing that it's going to be 5 or less wins. And what I did note about this team too, you could sit here and make a legitimate argument that they could go 0-6 in their division.
Yeah, I think
6 losses right off the bat.
Yeah. Listen, honestly, when I did map it out, every team, like when I was looking, I really think I had Seattle losing every matchup. So, and that sucks, but it is reality. We agree on 7-10 for best case scenario. I was a little more generous, only by 2 games though. I gave them a 5-12 worst case scenario, but it does fall into the fact that I actually don't think I voted, but in my mind, I said no. I didn't want to sway the results, but I was thinking no for this. So it's not more than 5. I could see them in that 5-12 area. Yeah. So,
all right.
Alrighty, and finally, we have the San Francisco 49ers. Best worst case scenario.
I mean, I think we have to call them the mystery team of this division solely because of Trey Lance and the quarterback position and having no idea what that is going to look like. We know the surrounding team was good enough, you know, with Jimmy Garoppolo to, you know, surprise some people last year, make the NFC Championship game. But I was like puzzled on this one. Right. I literally, I don't know what to say with, you know, Trey Lance being the quarterback now. Best case scenario, and I'm actually looking, I'm matching up with the Arizona Cardinals. Best case scenario, I have 10-7. And listen, if it doesn't pan out with Trey Lance, I'm going worst case scenario 7-10.
All right. I like the flippy floppy there. I think it makes sense. We agree on best case scenario 10-7. I think, you know, the only thing that a lot of people are looking at and really trying to understand is Trey Lance. If he is the answer for them, though, then this Niners team is a very talented team that I don't really feel like going up against, to be honest. So I'm good, honestly, not traveling to San Francisco. Worst case scenario, I do have them at 8 and 9. So I do have them falling just a little bit, about 2 games under, but I think that they still are good. Jimmy G was that, he was the play caller for them. That's what he was. He was managing the game for them. I think he had a lot of help, offensive and defense. If that Niners team can train, if Trey Lance is not that true QB answer, if they can just train him to be Jimmy G, or Jimmy G gets in, he goes in, we're going to have a team that we had and we saw already. So 8 and 9 is not a terrible record, in my opinion, for worst case scenario.
All right. We were close.
On a couple of them. I'm impressed.
That is it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are our best worst case scenario records for this upcoming season for all 8 divisions. Obviously, we've been posting them. If you want to, go back, and the receipts are out there, people. They're on our social media.
Nothing to hide.
We cannot hide from it. But we are definitely going to dive deeper into what we think about all 32 teams, because we will be giving you our playoff predictions later on in the show. But first, let's get into our big stories of the week in the world of housewives. We have one, but it's a good one. It's a juicy one. Mm-hmm. We're talking about Miss Ramona Singer and being left out of the RHONY Legacy cast. So this past week, reports came out that Bravo has decided on a cast for RHONY Legacy. Of course, you guys, know that regular RHONY, they decided to wipe the cast, completely start over, brand new slate. But in order not to upset the diehard RHONY fans, I think they knew they had to keep these ladies in some sort of fashion. So they have decided to do a RHONY Legacy show, they're calling it. And it will feature Jill Zarin, Dorinda Medley, Tinsley Mortimer, which will be interesting to see where Tinsley and Dorinda stand nowadays. Right. Kelly Ben Simone, Luann de Lesseps, and Sonia Morgan. And of course, we know Luann and Sonia are also getting a spin-off show together that they've been filming. So there's that as well. Obviously, we've already seen like a lot of these faces on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. So we have not said goodbye to a lot of these RHONY ladies, except for Miss Ramona Singer. So, it most notably does not include Ramona, who will not be cast nor incorporated into the reboot. Obviously, that's very interesting because Ramona was the only one to go from the very first season all the way through. You have to remember that, Luann got demoted to a friend one season, which is still like bizarre to even think about.
I know.
Sonia feels like she's been there the whole time. Dorinda feels like she's been there the whole time, but they haven't.
Nope.
And then we are flashing way back to Kelly Ben Simone and Jill.
Yeah.
Of course, getting Tinsley back, which I'm very excited about. Mm-hmm. Yes, it does not include Ramona. So it was also noted that the decision to not include her was made in the final hours of casting discussions. And reports also say that she has technically been fired from the Housewives franchise completely. So we believe that it could have to do with a report of an alleged racist comment made by Ramona about co-star Ebony Williams that launched an internal investigation that halted the reunion plans last year. Right. Time in the history of Housewives, the reunion was not done. And I remember when they made that decision, there were all those rumors swirling around about not only things that Ramona had potentially said that were inappropriate, but the fact that like Ramona was like, I'm not going to go to the reunion. I don't want to be asked about these things. Right. I want to be, put out there. A lot of people brought up Jenny from Salt Lake City being fired once, a lot of her social media posts, that were pretty controversial came out, and Bravo was like, we're cutting ties with her. So people felt like if these things really happen and they investigated and they found that they happened, they can't fire Jenny and keep Ramona. You have to be done with both of them. So Caitlin is frozen, but she is frozen sipping. There you go. You're back.
I'm back.
You're frozen for a second, but perfectly sipping your wine. So it was all good. So on a recent episode of her podcast, New Jersey cast member Melissa Gorga actually talked about the fact that she just recently ran into Ramona in the Hamptons, and Ramona was stating that she is done with reality TV altogether and will not go back. So RHONY Legacy will not start filming until March 2023. So
it's been a while.
I don't recall when we're potentially going to see the new RHONY, like the new look of RHONY, but it sounds like that's probably going to be coming first. I think they're either wrapping up or done with casting for RHONY. I know we leaked one of the cast members last week. So, and obviously we know Luann and Sonia are already filming their little spinoff show. We might see both of those before we see RHONY Legacy, but it's interesting. And also interesting that Jill Zarin was put into this cast, because I know like Andy Cohen has been kind of vocal about like almost ribbing on Jill Zarin, like how she's so desperate to be invited back.
Like annoying,
in the Housewives world, where it was like too much. Usually when somebody like begs to be back on it, that's Bravo being like, "No, we're good. Like that can happen." So I was a little bit surprised that Jill was included in on this, but you know, she is an OG face, and maybe without Ramona there, they felt like
they need someone else.
She would be good to bring into the mix. So
yeah, I mean, it's definitely weird to like look at the word OG or legacy and like not think of Ramona. But obviously, if there are these underlying issues, investigations that may have gone on, you're absolutely correct. If they're going to say no to one housewife, they can't. They got to say no to her as well, no matter who the hell you are. You know, it does not matter. So, I personally would like to know and understand more of what happened as a fan of RHONY and as a fan of these women individually. I think we got a lot of, you know, a lot of light was shown on Jenny in that situation. So we were able to understand it. We were able to form our own opinions and, you know, kind of move on and figure out, yes, it was the right decision. I personally, yes, it's been crickets since the reunion was canceled.
I think more will come out, especially when it gets closer to like when it's going to actually premiere.
Right. I would just personally,
if this is why they're moving on from Ramona, then you would think that Bravo will or would have or will in the future make a statement, because of course they made an official statement when they decided to part ways with Jenny. You know, they've made official statements on things like that in the past. So if that's the issue with Ramona, I would expect that you will hear more about it. This is obviously, we give you breaking news on this show. So this is all coming to light in this past week.
Yeah.
So I think we'll potentially hear more about it when it gets closer.
Absolutely. Alrighty, so we are playing a fun game tonight because it is early and you guys might think we are crazy.
Do it every year.
That's fine. We do it every year. We are giving you our super early playoff predictions. As we've done in our past, we are going to give you our 2022 NFL season playoff and Super Bowl predictions. We are looking at each division, who's going to be the winner there. Plus, we have 3 wild card teams, as you guys know, that was introduced last year with the AFC and NFC. And we're going to give you, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it might be crazy, but we are giving you our Super Bowl matchup, and we are giving you our Super Bowl winner. I went crazy last season, I feel. And guess what? I think my matchup is crazy this year. I think you might be completely taken aback by who I chose. But I was like, you know what? It didn't happen for me last year, so I'm just gonna go crazy this year again. So
like you can never predict these things. I know we always talk about like the Cincinnati Bengals. No one expected them in the Super Bowl last year, but also you can make arguments that like people weren't picking the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Everybody was looking at Kansas City and Tampa Bay and the Bills and everything like that. So you just never know. Like whatever you picked might sound like a little, spicy, and it definitely would be, but
I think it's spicy.
That's what we love about the NFL, because all these things are possible.
I think it's spicy faux show. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we are going through the entire AFC, the entire NFC. We're giving you our so we're doing that. We're doing our we're giving our wild card teams, and then we are giving you our Super Bowl matchup and our Super Bowl winner. So let's start with the AFC East. Who is your winner?
The Bills.
Buffalo. I went with Buffalo as well.
Some of these divisions were not hard. Some of them were like, ooh, I can make arguments for here. So that was one of the easy ones for me.
All right, moving to the AFC North, who do you have as your divisional winner?
This one may or may not be a popular pick. Obviously, Cincinnati, like we just said, played in the Super Bowl last year. They are in this division. I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, I think that's it is a popular pick, what I've seen among people. I think the Bengals do come up like a little bit short. I'm going to go with the Bengals on this one. Okay. I actually might be convinced that this might be the first year that we don't have a Super Bowl slump. It's definitely, I don't want to knock on wood, because I don't want to see either the Rams or the Bengals play like shit, to be honest. I like both of their momentum and everything they're doing. I think it might be that year though. And I think the Bengals can really, kind of run. I don't know how far they will, but I like them winning this division for sure.
Okay.
All right. AFC South divisional winner.
I've talked about this team before. They're not my sleeper. They're my deep sleeper, but I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm picking the Colts to win this division as well.
And I'm not big on, I think Tennessee is going to take a step back this year.
I think they are. And a step back that leaves a wide opening for the Colts to take this division. So no matter, honestly, what really the record is, because I did go back. I did pull up my receipts for record predictions for this game to make sure. Some might be a little wonky. I could have made a decision later in life on these, maybe that I didn't do the records. But this was kind of the one where I was like, you know what? Even if the Colts had a different record than what we had predicted, they can win at any record in this division, I think. So it's definitely up in the air, but I think that, with the Titans stepping back, there's a huge opening for them. So, all right, AFC West, which we just did tonight. So if you guys were paying attention, you'd know who we have on top technically. Who do you, well, if we did best case, worst case scenario, but kind of who you're feeling.
I think this would have been my pick regardless, but obviously tonight being the episode that we broke down this division and we really dissected these schedules, they do have the easiest schedule in the division. So it made me feel good about my selection to pick the Los Angeles Chargers to win the division. I'm
going with the Chargers as well. I 100% agree. Easiest schedule. They're going to get the wins regardless, honestly. There's going to be some challenging games for them, but they are also a very talented team. So, All right, moving to the NFC, and we are starting with our division, of course, the NFC East. Who do you have winning this division?
I feel like I've been saying this all off season, but I obviously think this is like a 2-team race between the Cowboys and Philly, and maybe there's just no rhyme or reason for why I feel this way. It's just like a gut feeling. I think it's going to be the Philadelphia Eagles.
Katie, I went with the Eagles as well. And I think it's what they've been doing over the past couple of weeks. I mean, you even just saw what they did the other day. I'm not happy about it. But they're making moves. They're stacking their roster. They're stacking their roster for futures to come. Today they gave over Rhaegar to the Vikings. But
not believe, I know they got a 7th round pick, but they also got a 4th rounder for him. And I was like, I'm shocked that they got that.
Yeah. And it just, for me, what they've been doing in the off season, getting ready for 2022 has been completely terrifying. And they're returning guys like they're bringing back, obviously Devontae Smith. And I think I like Jalen Hurts. I think he is a talented quarterback.
I think we're going to see an improved Jalen Hurts. Not like he was bad last year, but of course he's got more experience under his belt. I expect, and I'm sure his team expects him to, take a step up.
They are a talented team. And I think that they are actually one of the most underrated teams going into this season. And I do not know why people think that. I think we are really focused in on them because they're in our division. And we're understanding every move that they're doing. I'm more scared to play that.
We could deem them like the deep sleeper of the NFC. I could see that.
I see it, and it pisses me off to no freaking end, but it is what it is. It's facts, people. We can't, there's nothing else that we're spewing out on this show. It's just pure facts. So yes, I went with the Eagles as well. All right, moving to the NFC North. Who do you have here?
Easy one, Packers.
The Packers, 100%. All right, another probably easy one here, moving to the NFC South.
The easiest of the bunch. I'm going Buccaneers.
Going with the Bucs as well. And then wrapping it up with the NFC West.
I'm going to stick with the Super Bowl champs. I'm sticking with Los Angeles Rams here.
Me too. I'm going with the Rams. All right. So this is where it gets interesting. Because we have teams that we did not mention so far that some people that are watching, listening are probably shaking their heads that we did not pick them as divisional winners. But we have 3 wild card people. That is really big for the NFL. It's big for a lot of fans that are like, shit, my team just missed it. Well, guess what? You have no excuses anymore. You have 3 wild cards per the AFC and the NFC. So Katie, AFC wild card teams, who did you pick?
I love the Giants in the NFC, but I have to note that I think the AFC is much more stacked than the NFC.
They are, honestly.
And I say that because I'm about to give you wild card teams, and there are teams that I'm leaving off this list making the playoffs altogether. And I'm like,
what?
If they were playing in the NFC, they would be in the playoffs. So I'm leaving out some good teams here. This was hard. But my wild card teams for the AFC are going to be the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be the Las Vegas Raiders. So I am sending 3 teams from the AFC West. And I am rounding things out with the Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. We have 2 of the same here. I'm going with the Chiefs and the Raiders as well. I had already, so I'm sending 3 from that.
Right. And you have the Bengals as your division winner. So
I did. So my 3rd spot, and this was my bold prediction going into this season. So I'm sticking to my receipts and I'm sticking to what I've said. I am picking the Miami Dolphins in that 3 spot as I have them competing neck and neck with the Buffalo Bills this season as my bold prediction, but I do think it could happen as well. And if that does happen, they will take that 3rd wild card spot. So, all righty, going into the NFC, we have 3 teams here. And like Katie said, I don't know about the NFC, to be honest, because they're not as good as the AFC. No. So I don't know. It's not that I struggled with picking these. Maybe my 3rd team I kind of tossed up in the air, but I don't know. So who do you have for these 3?
All right. Well, I obviously, like I said, I picked the Rams as the NFC West champions, but I'm sending 3 teams from the NFC West to the playoffs. I am including the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. And unfortunately, I am rounding things out with the Dallas Cowboys.
Ugh, kills me.
I know.
I am sending the Cowboys and the Niners as well. And my 3rd team, I left the Cardinals off the list. And I think I might have either said it on the show or spoken to people on the side. And maybe I doubted this team before, but the more and more I look at this defense, I'm like, wow, they're really freaking good. I'm putting the New Orleans Saints in this 3rd spot. And I knew
you were going to say that. So I want to just say that we said that division was the easiest to pick the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
I'm going to call out my husband right now. He has the New Orleans Saints winning that division. Not just going to the playoffs. He is high on the New Orleans Saints. I don't even have them in my playoff picture. hot take, husband's bold prediction of the 2022 NFL season. He has the Saints winning.
He's got to get that on writing. We have it here.
I called him out.
His wife voiced it. I need him to get that in writing somewhere on social media for the world to see. Because not only if he's wrong, I'd love for the world to rip on him. If he is right, I would love for him to be in his glory. Because that's
a bold take.
It is a bold take to beat out the Bucs. But listen, it's not far off to get them into that wild card spot. So, all right. Well, here's where it gets fun, in my opinion. We had some fun with these wild card picks, but we are early. February is like 6 months away. We've got a whole season of football and a whole season that I think is going to be very interesting. I say year after year, and I think it gets more interesting year after year. We've got a whole season. But Katie, who do you see in the Super Bowl in February?
Spoiler alert, I did not get very spicy with this.
Oh, I got spicy.
Plain old vanilla.
I got spicy.
I feel super, super adamant about my NFC pick. I don't foresee it being, I can see it being one other team, but I'm adamant that it's going to be this team. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And my other team that I put into consideration was the Rams. Other than that, I really don't see any of the other NFC teams making it to the Super Bowl. I'm going with the Bucs.
Who are they playing?
And then the AFC.
Who are they playing?
And then the AFC, I've been saying this, I think I said it last week when I said, this was their coach was going to be coach of the year. And I said that was because they were going to be the best team in the NFL this year. I'm going with the Buffalo Bills.
All right. We are in no way, shape, or form on the map. We have two completely different teams. You know what? I like that matchup, though. Like, I know you said it's not spicy. I do like that matchup.
I would love to see it.
That's a game I would genuinely enjoy to sit down and watch. Like, I really, really would. I just, you know what? We had a wild, I feel like, scenario. People were high on the Rams last year, but I would have never predicted a Rams-Bengals Super Bowl. I am not picking the Bills because I'm just not doing it anymore.
So we've got the Chargers.
We do. I have the Chargers, and maybe get your husband on the phone because I'm putting the 49ers in the Super Bowl this year.
I thought you were about to say the Saints.
No. I didn't go that crazy. I'm having a Chargers 49ers Super Bowl this year. I know. It is crazy. And that puts Trey Lance in the Super Bowl, which is wild to think.
Wow.
But if he is the guy, he's the guy.
Well, yeah, because obviously you're going to make the argument if Jimmy could take them to the NFC Championship game, if Trey Lance is better than Jimmy,
he will take them to the Super Bowl.
Wow.
So really
spicy.
I stepped out and it was whew. So, but we haven't talked about winners yet. You have a game that people, Katie, are going to want to see, like we had said, but who actually wins that game?
Can't remember who my pick was last year. It might have been this team. It is going to finally be the year that we see the Buffalo Bills.
Is it going to finally be?
Yes. Josh Allen is, I have Herbert as my MVP. Yeah. Josh Allen is going to be a very close second in that MVP race. I think Buffalo is going to potentially have the best regular season out of all these teams, and they're going to get over that hump, and they're going to make it to the big game, and they're going to win it. I'm going with the Bills.
All right. Well, I'm going with the Chargers.
I was like, I don't think she's going to say the Niners. I know she was just got spicy, but that would be even spicier.
Honestly, spiciest. The Giants are going to win the Super Bowl. I'm not gonna do that to myself, people. I'm not gonna put that in my head. But honestly, I love doing that. It is early, but it gets you. Like I said, we're about a week away.
Listen, I know that you're not a betting gal, but put $1 on that Super Bowl matchup, and you're gonna win a lot of money if it happens.
I might. I don't know how to do the gambling.
Have your boyfriend do it. Have Chris do it. I'm telling you, put $1 on it. He could tell you right now how much you would win if it happens. It's going to be a lot of money.
And that is it. And then I quit my job. I just moved to an island, and then that is it.
There you go. There you go.
You will never hear from me again.
I am super pumped for this NFL season. I think it goes without saying with our record predictions, with our playoff predictions, is it's anybody's Super Bowl to win. Honestly, we have so many good teams, which honestly makes it a good thing too that we do now have these 3 wild card teams, because you hate to see the teams that are deserving of being in the playoffs with a really good record, miss out. So I think we're going to have all the teams that deserve to be there will get there, and I can't wait. But it is that point in the night where we get it off our chest. Positive, negative, football, housewives, wife. I said wife, life.
I don't have one.
Wine/life, wife. Life, September being tomorrow. Caitlin getting ready for fall, for spooky season, whatever you want to talk about.
I have a lovely fall candle lit right now. It smells beautiful throughout the house. It's been pumpkin season, but we will turn the house into a pumpkin tomorrow. But honestly, there's just so much, like it's positive tonight because there's so much to look forward to. I'm in my Bama gear, all courtesy to Katie. Thank you so much for this lovely attire. All courtesy.
She's easy to shop for. She's easy to get birthday gifts.
It's really not that difficult. It's all around. I honestly, but I must say, this is my favorite hat, like literally in the world. Like everyone knows it. I think everyone knows that this is my favorite hat too. So hats off to Katie, no pun intended. So literally getting my favorite hat. It just fits perfectly. It's perfect. I love it. But yes, I'm just so excited. College football did start last weekend, but obviously for a lot of big teams, it does start this weekend. I love college football. I love the NFL. I just love, for me, people are like, I want my weekends, all this stuff, like football on Saturday and Sunday. Like I'm cool. Like I love it. Like you're good. And everyone, there's such a community. So like everyone knows, everyone else is glued to their couch or they're going watching at a bar. Football is it's great. I love it. I love being able to talk to you on Sundays about the games or what's going on. It's puts you in a great mindset, a good mental state. So I'm so excited. The NFL's next week. And we'll talk about it more next week, but we did get a trailer for Real Housewives of Salt Lake City this morning. That was a surprise. We did not know we were getting it. We will dissect it last week, but I will give you spoiler alert. Katie and I are excited. And we are.
If we dropped the word spicy 50 times in this episode, here's 51.
Here's
spicy.
Another spice. So it is, we're coming into a really exciting time right now, and I'm just really, really happy. So definitely positive. Get it off my chest tonight.
Yeah, and mine is. I think I slipped it in at the very end of last episode that I got roped into a second fantasy football league. I have now completed both drafts. My second one finished last night. Just a couple of quick things from my teams that, I was happy about. I will say that in both leagues, I really wanted to get strong quarterbacks. So I have Patrick Mahomes in one, Justin Herbert in the other. Super pumped about that. In my first league, I got Dameon Pierce, and I am super excited. When I picked him, I was a little iffy on it.
Yeah.
He's my third back that I took. I was like, we don't know a lot about him. I know people are high on him. What do I do? And I just went for it. And then, of course, he plays for Houston, and he is a rookie, and they have now waived Marlon Mack.
Yep.
And specifically, the headlines are like, Marlon Mack's gone to pave way for rookie Dameon Pierce. Like, let's go. I did get George Pickens late. I know he was both somebody that Caitlin and I really liked as a sleeper rookie wide receiver this year. And let me flip over to my other team. Like I said, I got Justin.
You have two very good teams. So
I got Justin Herbert at quarterback in that one. I love my 3 wide receiver trio of Cooper Kupp, Mike Evans, and Jerry Jeudy. I have Jerry
very
Jeudy
good
in both leagues.
Yeah.
So, and I know, Kate, you just mentioned really liking New Orleans Saints defense. I do have the Saints defense for that one. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty happy with the teams that I drafted. And the one other thing I wanted to mention, I told Kate that this week I noticed for the first time my birthday is in November. And the Giants bye week is going to fall during my birthday weekend. And I'm super ecstatic about that because
that means it's not in mine because we both have November birthday.
Birthday weekend. It's, Caitlin has a November birthday as well. We know it's not very fun. And it just kind of gives me the opportunity to celebrate my birthday, the whole weekend, Saturday, Sunday, whatever, and not have to worry about like, oh my God, I got to get home in time for the Giants game. I got to be watching that. I can maybe, like you do, enjoy some fall activities, do something. Yeah. So I'm happy about my birthday.
Not be upset on your birthday. Yeah. Like that's always a big
thing.
Used
to it. We're like so used to it now. And I'm happy that will not be this year. It's not an option.
No, it's not. You can't be upset on your birthday. It's not a thing. So no, I'm pumped. It means I have a free weekend too. So whatever you're doing for your birthday, I'm coming. So we've got a free weekend. So who's ever coming, we're coming. We're all
going.
All the Giants fans are all going.
I said to my husband, I was like, maybe we should just look at what the games are in the NFL that week and just go fly somewhere. catch a random game. The Giants aren't playing.
Road trip, everyone. All righty. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode of The Real Football Fans in New Jersey. As we said, we've got so much coming in the coming weeks. So take a deep breath, everyone, and get ready. Get your football attire out. Get your social media eyes out because we've got Housewives stuff coming out left and right on social media. So keep an eye out. But as far as viewing goes, you do have Beverly Hills on Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. You have the Real Housewives of Dubai reunion part 1. I know it is Wednesday night when we're talking to you. We actually have the reunion at 9. So maybe in a week or two, Katie and I will give you a little recap, but we're still, it's a touchy subject for us. We're still trying to catch up a little bit there, but
fine.
We could give you a bit of a recap of the first season, which may be the last, to be honest. And Atlanta is on Sundays at 8 p.m., which, obviously in the coming weeks might be a struggle for some people because we do have competing Sunday night football. Hard Knocks is still continuing at Tuesdays at 10 p.m. Obviously, all football teams, including the Lions, the Lions, just a lot of teams made cuts, so you want to tune in to probably the next episode of Hard Knocks to understand what they were doing.
I think it'll be the last episode, and we'll see the cuts and all that stuff.
Yeah, so you want to definitely tune in to I honestly tune in if you're not, have tuned in so far. The way in which teams handle this, it was very eye-opening when I watched the Chargers and the Rams season, because I really liked how the one Chargers, he's not the coach anymore, but like how he handled things. It's pretty eye-opening because these days, all you do is log onto Twitter and you see who everyone cut. Like you don't really see kind of the business side of it behind the scenes. So
breaking the news to the player himself.
Yeah, and it's a lot of the times it is the head coach sitting down one-on-one. Yes. So my suggestion is to watch it. If you are a football fan, or even if not, you just want to know, I would watch this next episode just to see. But thank you guys so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll be with you again next week, and we are moving into primetime NFL. So we are ready, people. We're
giving week 1 picks next week.
Oh, yes, we are. Oh, I forgot about that. I want to update our image that we use for that. So I have to, that's on my agenda for this weekend to update the visual for that. But, Oh, yes, we are so excited. Let's go football. Let's go life. Let's go Real Football Fans in New Jersey. We'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.